Hi there, Summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. And tonight, we just got a new trailer drop for the next set of new heroes to drop into the game in just a couple of days. Now, I believe it's a new hero banner because we did not get any silhouettes, so I'm expecting this to be new heroes. And because it's new heroes, and given the month that we're in, it's probably going to be the Fallen banner. Now, I did see the thumbnail, I saw that pop up, so I did see a flash of a male character. I didn't see who it was, but beyond that, you know, because I wasn't expecting a trailer today, it kind of surprised me there. But let's go ahead and watch the reveals together for the first time, just relish in the surprise, and drink it all in. So let's get started here. Let's wait for that to leave. Okay. Alright, so Fallen banners traditionally are busted, so we are expecting some ridiculousness here in all likelihood. Byleth and Sothis? Wait. Oh, wow. Wait, what? Okay, so this... Oh, wow, really? So it is Fallen Byleth. Captain Sword, distant attack speed solo. Oh, we've got a new class of A-slot. Okay, so she's... Okay, possessed by Sothis. Huh. Is that Maria? Ritual sacrifice. It's definitely a change up from... Oh, look at the... Look at the purple wisps around her. That expression on her face is, don't mess with me. No. So she is a healer. Sacrificial staff. Nudge plus Holy Panic. She only comes with... Oh god, it's scrolling. Oh god, it's scrolling. Okay, Poetic Justice, Even Recovery 3. I mean, the art's pretty cool. So this is a momentous occasion. This is the first time we're seeing... we're seeing a kid scroll during a trailer. Oh man. Oh, whoa. Seething silence. Oh, that voice. Anankos. So you know what? That makes a lot of sense, actually, that they would reveal him on a Fallen banner. Silent Breath, so he's going to be an armored unit. Huh. Okay. That's cool. That's a cool animation attack effect. Oh, so we're getting a rearmed hero on a Fallen banner. Is that... Oh, that's Chrom. Okay. He looks super edgy. He looks so edgy. Alright. He is riding a horse. Okay. Huh. Arcane Devourer. So, Fate Unchanged, Gale Force... Oh my god, Clash, Snack Tank. He's freaking... These kids are gonna be ridiculous. Alright. Chrom, I wasn't expecting Chrom... I mean, I wasn't expecting, I guess, any of these characters except for Anankos, really. New story chapter, of course. Anybody of note here? Nope, no new reveals, it looks like. So new heroes are here, starting on the 5th. Or not the 5th, starting on the 9th of May, and presumably going for about an entire month or so. So no 4-star focus unit of the banner, which I think does line up with the expectations. I don't think anybody was... Fallen banners are kind of like separate and distinct from sort of the pattern and the ebb and flow, is what I normally would have said, although we're getting a rearmed hero in addition to the other Fallen heroes. So... there is actually going to be a character on here that is limited in some capacity. They're not all just dropping into the ordinary pool, and that is going to be Rearmed Chrom. I do feel like that's a little unfortunate because, again, Fallen banners have kind of bucked the trend in that they've all been, like, super busted, but also just widely available, and so that has been something that we've been able to count on for years now, ever since they introduced the first Fallen hero banner. And in this case, yeah, one of them is going to be kind of locked away. I don't love that. Of course, it would make more sense for the hero to be rearmed versus ascended, right? But again, it's just kind of extending the long kind of patch where we haven't gotten an ascended hero at all, which is making me think that they're just kind of like abandoning that concept because it hasn't been very lucrative. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so a bunch of surprises here for sure. The kits are, well, they're long. Alright, so first up on deck we've got female Byleth, fallen female Byleth, who is going to be an infantry sword unit, which makes some sense, does make some sense, and Cassandra Lee Morris is going to be the voice because she voices Sothis, and it seems like, you know, all of the voices, it's effectively going to be possessed by Sothis, right? From an art perspective, I think Hidari did a great job, I mean, in capturing Byleth, although what I will say is that there's not, they could have gone a little bit harder on the fallen elements. She's just kind of standing there. She's got the green hair and then the green wisps around her, but and then, you know, she has a little bit of sort of this despondent posture. But despite that, you know, I think they could have gone a little bit harder on the fallen element to it, make it a little bit edgier. That's always part of the fun with these banners, after all. So if we take a look at her kit here, so Captain Sword, 16 might, has a killer slaying effect. Foes with range equal to 1 cannot move through spaces adjacent to foe. Okay, so she's got, interesting, she's got a kind of a bulwark skill built into her sword, which does make me think that she's going to effectively be a wall, right? At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants +5 to all stats, neutralizes foes' bonuses during combat. Just neutralizes all of them, alright? Restore 7 HP to unit after combat, and also if foe initiates combat and unit speed is greater than foe's speed, unit can counterattack before foe's first attack. So she also gets a vantage effect built in when she's enemy facing and outspeeds the enemy. There's a lot of good stuff in there for buff amplification and effects, and really kind of shines in an enemy phase fashion, which I would say you don't see that often with infantry sword units, or at least it's a more uncommon archetype for that particular weapon and movement combination. Divine Pulse for the special, her own unique special. Boost damage by 25% of unit speed, reduces damage from foes' next attack by 75%, and unit's next attack deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed. Distant attack speed solo for the A slot. Unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. If unit is not adjacent to an ally, grants +5 to attack and speed during combat. Oh, okay, oh boy. Alright, that's pretty darn good. I'm wondering if this is locked to infantry at all or anything like that. I wouldn't think so, based upon the sort of the amalgamation of these different skills that it's kind of cannibalizing into one. But that's very good, and effectively if she is going to be just kind of a wall that sits out there, and then she gets the attack and the speed boost, which is going to help her damage and her proccing of the different effects of her weapon, it's very good. Close Call 4, inflicts speed defense -4 on foe, if skill compared unit speed to ally speed, so that has the phantom speed effect, of course, which of course is going to help with the Captain Sword. For sure, and her getting that the vantage effect. And then times Pulse 4 for the C slot, which is appropriate with the whole Sothis component to this. At start of combat, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -1. After combat, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -1. That effectively means that she is always going to have Divine Pulse at a 0-turn cooldown. Yeah, a combination of really, really strong things. Effectively, she's going to be having damage amplification and a lot of boosts paired with with having a high speed stat, and she's going to basically act as a blocking wall. And her Divine Pulse is going to do a ton of damage on both of the attacks that she does. So that is a very strong kit. A lot of great stuff that she's got equipped with, as well as a brand new A-slot skill that is probably going to be pretty darn coveted at the end of the day. So next up is Maria, and I gotta say, they did an amazing job on her art. Her art really looks fantastic. It's perfectly in line, just the right amount of edge for a fallen banner. She is an infantry cleric. I think they just really captured the essence of possession here. She has the shade across the eyes, but the eyes do have this soft purple glow. But she's just standing there or floating there, completely unfazed, confident, just exuding this presence. And then you have this fluttering up of the cloth around her with this aura, this torrent of energy and purple wisps just flying up with this large scepter on the side. I gotta say, I'm impressed with the art they put together for Maria here, because she definitely looks the part. for sure. Now, God, this kit that scrolls is killing me. So she has Sacrifice Staff for her weapon. 14 might, has a dazzling effect, so foe can't counterattack, has a killer slaying effect. Okay? If unit initiates combat or is within 2 space of an ally, grants +5 to all stats and neutralize effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. So super easy condition, getting those stat boosts, and then also preventing a guard effect on her. Grants +4 to all stats during combat, and if unit's HP is greater than 1, and foe would reduce unit's HP to 0, unit survives with 1 HP after combat, and restores 99 HP to unit. To allies within 2 spaces of unit. Effect only triggers for player's team once per map and does not stack with non-special effects that allow unit to survive with 1 HP. So she grants a miracle. Is that right? And like the souped up miracle too, the one that like Legendary Fae has. What? And it's not an activated buff, it's actually like an in-combat buff. It doesn't stack with other miracle effects. And it's only 1, so it's not like your whole team it's whoever dies first on your team, effectively. But that alone is really strong and really annoying. Like, just thinking about it conceptually, is that as long as she's within 2 spaces of that ally, they get a miracle effect that restores their health HP to 99. That's very good. That's very good. All right, so Holy Panic. All right, let's take a look at this thing. Holy Panic for the special. When special triggers, boost damage by 25% of foe's res. Calculates damage from staff after combat damage is added. Alright, if special is triggered during combat, inflicts attack speed -6 and panic on target and foes within 2 spaces of target after combat. Okay, alright. So as far as the cleric specials, the cleric offensive specials that we've gotten so far, I would consider this effect to be one of the weaker ones. It's going to hit hard. For the 25% of foe's res is definitely going to hit hard. But the additional effect that gets added, which is just a stat debuff and the panic effect, is it's still good, but it's not as debilitating as the other ones. The other ones gave a gravity effect or a guard effect on the enemy, both of which I think, just generally speaking, have a lot more utility, because in this case, panic and stat debuffs, they're a dime a dozen. You can get those all over the place, so not quite as rare. Alright, attack speed unity for the A slot, that's quite nice. Poetic Justice for the B slot, very, very nice. And then even recovery 3 for the C slot. So yeah, Maria's got a lot of great stuff. In terms of like cleric kit, she's just got a ton of stuff that you can pull from, and any cleric would enjoy. Even her special, I didn't mean to sound too down on it or anything. It is still quite good. I mean, like the rest of her kit is. Her weapon has such unique value and utility to a team. It's going to be so annoying to deal with in certain team compositions and defensive teams and everything like that. She's going to be pretty valuable on that front. Anankos is another one that goes pretty hard, I have to say. Armored blue dragon unit, the purple wisps, the floating cloak, the hooded nature, the glowing red eye, and the one arm extended with the bubbles. I mean, it all works. I think it all works pretty well. Alright, so Anankos has got Silent Breath, 16 might, has a killer slaying effect. If foe initiates combat, or if foe has a certain HP threshold, grants +5 to all stats for Anankos, and also inflicts -X to all stats on foe. Now, X equals the current bonus on each of foe's stats times 2. Oh, okay, so whatever activated stat boosts are on the foe, this effect essentially just reverses it. It gives a debuff in the same amount that the buff is, which effectively negates it, and then adds an additional, it doubles that, so that you do get that amount debuffed. So it's a fancier panic in a way. It's less susceptible to counters and negation. Deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed. Okay. So we got some true damage in there, scaling off of speed. And reduces damage from foes' first attack by 7 during combat. For standard weapons, first attacks means blah, 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 right. If foe's range is equal to 2, grants damage using the... Okay, so yeah, adaptive damage. Huh, so damage reduction of a fixed amount. And only that. So by 7. I guess he's going to enjoy damage reduction elsewhere. Yeah, he is. Okay. So obviously that's a very strong pairing. We know that he's going to get damage reduction later. We can already see that with Savvy Fighter. But usually when there's fixed damage reduction in addition to percentage damage reduction, those things, generally speaking, scale very well with each other. And so, yeah, that makes more sense, I guess. Noontime for the special, Kestrel Stance 3 for the A slot, Savvy Fighter 4 for the B slot. So if Savvy Fighter 4 is... if foe initiates combat, inflicts speed attack -4 on foe, and neutralize effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks, and effects that prevent units follow-up attacks during combat. And also, if unit speed is greater than foe speed -10, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% during combat, so there's that damage reduction. So that means altogether, he would enjoy damage reduction of 40%, and as well as a fixed 7 damage reduction as well. And then he is going to have he's going to double naturally with a lot of speed that he has. He's going to do a true damage scaling off of that speed as well. He has attack speed near save 3 for the C slot, so that's going to mean that, of course, as an armored unit, he's built around enemy phasing, and of course using the save ability to get additional attack and speed. And all of that attack and speed is going to mean that he's going to naturally double. Savvy Fighter is going to ensure that he doesn't get stopped from doubling, that he only takes 1 hit on enemy phase, and that hit is going to be severely reduced in terms of damage through the damage reduction skills, both fixed and percentage based. And then finally, he's going to just do a ton of damage with all of the stat boosts as well. He has Noontime to keep him topped off in terms of healing, and he's going to do some true damage as well, scaling off of his speed. So that's all good stuff. All right, so Anankos has got some good stuff. I mean, Savvy Fighter 4 in particular as a new skill, I think it's going to be pretty coveted. It's a pretty dumb skill, and he's got good stuff in general. Although for a niche that's on the less common side as speedy armors go. Now that being said, there's nothing that he does. He does a lot of very strong things, but there's nothing I would say super unique that he does. He's effectively going to just be a really strong save armor unit that has stacking damage reduction and deals a lot of damage. I mean, that's kind of run-of-the-mill at this point. I know he does it in different ways. It's scaling off of his speed, too, which is a little bit less common for an armored unit, too. But I'm just saying, in terms of what the other units have been, not as impressed, I'll say. I don't know if that's my armor, my bias against armors coming through, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not like super impressed by it. And here we finally have the new rearmed hero, Exalt Chrom, Fallen Chrom, as a sword cavalry unit. Now, I gotta say, his art is really badass. They did a great job on the rendition of Chrom. Love the crown that he has. It makes a lot of sense for him to be a Dark King here. The dark nature of the armor, the shadowy effect across the entire palette, including his skin, I think that works beautifully here. And then you have the dark, deep purples, magenta energy sprouting off of the sword. You have the Grima emblem also, I think, coming off of his hand, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously the sword itself looks tortured and draconic, which makes a ton of sense. You have the swirl of energy around it, the crackling energy around the hilt. And then you have the tattered cloak, crimson red, getting swept up behind him and flared out like that in a really menacing way. It looks really cool. Yeah, they did a great job on this rendition of Chrom for sure in the art department. So taking a look at Chrom's kit, Arcane Devourer is going to be his weapon, and as we know, that is going to be an inheritable sword as well. So it's 16 might, has a killer slaying effect. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than 25%, grants +5 to all stats, grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack, only highest value applied, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% during combat, and also, if unit speed is greater than foe's speed, neutralize effects that guarantee foe's follow-up attacks, and effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. Okay, alright. So I think Chrom is probably going to be pretty speedy, and that's kind of been the name of the game here. In terms of units across this entire banner, is really kind of capitalizing on the native speed of the unit. So it's quite a strong set of effects. I think speedy sword units, and there's a dime a dozen of them out there, are going to really be able to appreciate and take advantage of what this weapon offers. Effectively taking advantage of their native speed to naturally double, enjoy some damage reduction built in, so that they don't have to rely on desperation to survive. You know, they can tank the initial hit or counterattack while they double and deal additional damage. The additional charge, the blade effect built in as well, is quite strong. The stat boost, the killer slaying effect, all very, very nice things. Fate Unchanged for the assist. I like that. I like that swap of the name. So moves target ally to opposite side of unit, so it's a reposition. Grants another action to unit, inflicts isolation on unit and pair up cohort. Through their next action, inflicts exposure on nearest foes within 4 spaces of unit and target ally after movement through their next actions, and on foes within 2 spaces of those foes, equipped with a skill that can trigger the savior effect through their next actions. Oh my god, okay. Additional action granted and isolation inflicted once per turn only. Alright, so to unpack this assist, it's effectively a reposition where Chrom refreshes himself so he gets another move in action. Casts isolation on himself so he can't just keep repositioning people across the entire map over and over and over again. But then also inflicts exposure on the nearest foes. So exposure is a debuff on the enemy, which means that they take an additional 10 damage whenever they're attacked. So it's quite a strong effect, and then it also inflicts that on enemies within 2 spaces of that enemy that have a save skill, so that even if there's a save unit outside of the range of that enemy, and they would ordinarily just swap in to protect them, they will also have that exposure debuff on them. It's a very strong effect. Exposure really helps with the damage output, and having Fate Unchanged, where you have a reposition and a self-refresh on a unit that is a cavalry unit, is very, very potent. That is very potent, very dangerous on the battlefield, because that means that effectively Chrom can traverse the entire map in a single turn unhindered. So, you know, because of that, he's quite dangerous. Has Gale Force as well as a special, which will naturally pair very well with Devourer, with the Killer Slaying effect and the Blade effect. That does mean that Chrom, in most initiations, will proc Gale Force within the first engagement. Alright, Speed Defense Snag 4 for the B slot. Let's take a look at this thing. So, inflict Speed Defense -4 on foe during combat. If Movement Assist skill is used by unit or target's unit, inflict Speed Defense -7 and Sabotage on nearest foes within 4 spaces of unit and target ally after movement on foes within 2 spaces of those foes, equipped with a skill that can trigger the savior effect. Okay, that savior thing again. Sabotage, of course, inflicts penalty on units' stats during combat equal to the highest penalty on each stat between unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit through their next actions. Calculates each stat penalty independently. Okay, alright, that's a pretty strong upgrade to the Snag tree of skills. I will say it's a nice upgrade. I think that said, I think Snag skills are kind of a lost cause. I don't think for the B slot you're going to be running Snag very often. The exception being Chrom and Lucina units, because they have the ability to use their assists and get another action, and because of that, the Snag skills are kind of almost like custom built for them and them alone. I mean, I think that every other unit can probably take advantage of a different B slot skill that would have more just more value overall in that slot, but Chrom and Lucina can definitely take advantage of the Snag skills, and it makes a lot of sense for Chrom for Rearmed Chrom to introduce this version of Snag. And then he's got Infantry Speed Tactic for the C slot. I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's good. It's decent for mixed teams, hybrid teams. It's just a little bit weird to see it on a fallen hero where it doesn't really synergize with the rest of his kit in any particular capacity. Fallen heroes tend to be selfish as well, so you would think there would be like a self buff of some kind, but that's not really the case here. So Chrom's got really good stuff here. His weapon paired with the Fate Unchanged and the Gale Force means that he can effectively traverse the entire map, engage on somebody, do a ton of damage, activate Gale Force, attack into somebody else, inflict the exposure on them so that he deals even more damage to ensure the kill, and yeah, he's, in terms of fodder, his weapon is very, very strong. That's something that you would want to potentially have at your disposal to inherit onto another sword unit, and his A slot skill, the attack speed clash. What I will say is that the rest of his kit you're probably not really that interested in inheriting that onto another unit. It works very, very well for him, but other than the Clash 4 and the Sword, I don't think you're really looking to inherit that onto anybody else, because I think it's kind of, it kind of just works for him, and you want to keep that on him. Or there's, like in the case of Gale Force, there's just other sources. Alright, well here is our Fallen banner of 2023 that covers all of their skills that we know of. I think Chrom is going to be a menace. I think that just the simple combination of his offensive capability paired with Fate Unchanged and the Gale Force is just, it can be really annoying to deal with. And then Maria, I think, is also one of the most interesting units on this banner for sure, giving it effectively that Drive Miracle effect built into her weapon once per turn. I think that can be super annoying. I also think that Byleth has interesting aspects to her kit. The fact that she does have sort of that bulwark ability built into her weapon, and the fact that she is a speedy enemy-facing infantry unit is something that's a little bit more on the unique side. Anankos, I think, is also going to be very, very strong as a save armor. With stacking damage reduction is always going to be annoying to deal with. That being said, I feel like he doesn't bring as much new to the table as the other units on this banner. But that being said, they're all going to be strong. It's a Fallen banner. It's kind of the MO. They come out swinging, and that's really to be expected here. So yes, I do think that this banner is worth summoning for, especially since Chrom is a rearmed unit, so he is limited, but you are going to be able to spark on this. Everybody is going to be able to spark on this banner because it is a new hero banner, and the units on it are quite strong. As for me personally, I'm most likely going to be summoning on this banner. I just haven't really decided what my strategy is going to be and how deep I'm going to go. I mean, at the end of the day, I would certainly appreciate getting all of them. I think I would have a use for any and all of them. But yeah, I don't know. I need to figure out exactly what my game plan is going to be. But probably going to summon on this one. But let me know in the comments below if you're excited for the new Fallen Hero banner. If you guessed the units that they revealed here on this banner, who you're most excited to get. If you are excited to get any of them, who you're going to be targeting and summoning for when the banner rolls around, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, for taking time out of your day to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.